Imagine a royal court that stank worse than a battlefield. A queen so devoted to modesty, or maybe just plain stubborn, that she refused to take off her undergarments. Ever. Not once. Not even for medical care. Not even for a bath. Now imagine that same queen almost unleashing a plague on Spain, all because of this unshakable habit. This isn't a dark fairy tale. This is history, and it's a glimpse into a world where hygiene, power, religion, and politics clashed beneath layers of velvet gowns and unwashed linen. Her name was Isabella Clara Eugenia, born into the most powerful empire of her time, the daughter of King Philip II of Spain and granddaughter of the infamous Charles V. She was royalty through and through, wrapped in divine right and unshakable Catholic piety. But behind the heavy tapestries of her royal chambers, there lurked a grim and foul-smelling truth. Raised in the Spanish court during the late 1500s, Isabella was a product of her time. Back then, cleanliness wasn't next to godliness. It was actually considered dangerous. Baths were rare and seen as immoral. The pores, they believed, would open in warm water and let in disease. So instead of washing, nobles doused themselves in perfumes and covered up the grime with layers of fine clothing. But Isabella took this one step further. According to royal attendants and shocked foreign visitors, she was known for never changing her underwear. Her linen shift, what we might today call undergarments, remained on her body day and night, month after month, year after year. If she needed a new dress, she would simply wear it over the same unwashed layer. Some chroniclers suggest she even bathed in her linen, allowing it to dry on her body, never stripping fully naked. Ever. Why? Modesty. Catholic teachings in 16th century Spain were harsh and deeply rooted in fear of sin, especially for women. To show skin, even in privacy, was a sign of vanity and lust. To remove her undergarments entirely, even alone, was viewed as immoral. Isabella, devout to the core, vowed to remain pure in both body and soul. That vow, unfortunately, ignored the bacteria festering beneath her holiness. Isabella wasn't just a strange royal with odd habits. She held real power. In 1598, after her father's death, she became the ruler of the Spanish Netherlands alongside her husband, Archduke Albert VII of Austria. They were seen as the perfect Catholic couple, pious, regal, and childless. Her image was printed on coins, her decrees enforced in courts. She was no figurehead. But here's the terrifying part. Isabella, in her refusal to bathe or change clothes, developed chronic infections. Physicians recorded festering sores, rashes, and the overpowering stench that followed her wherever she went. One French ambassador wrote that entering her chamber was like walking into a sick room rotting from the inside out. She became a walking vector for disease, carrying the very filth that medieval medicine claimed could lead to the spread of plague. In fact, during one of her court visits in the early 1600s, several servants reportedly fell ill after prolonged exposure to her quarters. Whether it was typhus, skin infections, or worse is unknown, but the pattern was chilling. Her doctors begged her to bathe. Her priests advised her to reconsider. But Isabella believed her filth was holy. Suffering, she thought, was part of sainthood. Ironically, Spain at the time was battling waves of plague, real plague. Between 1596 and 1602, tens of thousands died across the Iberian Peninsula. Towns were quarantined, merchants fled, and yet the royal court remained isolated from criticism. The people believed sickness came from sin, yet the most pious woman in the empire may have been helping to spread it. In portraits, Isabella looks pristine, gilded collars, porcelain skin, hands clasped in prayer. But reality was different. Beneath the lace was rotting fabric, crusted with dried sweat, dead skin, and disease. She may have believed she was preserving her soul, but she was decaying her body. When her husband died in 1621, Isabella became a nun, officially. But her habits barely changed. She continued to rule the Netherlands until her death in 1633, surrounded by portraits of saints and the acrid smell of her divine suffering. Was she mad? No. She was a product of her time, a time when women were told that purity mattered more than health, and where science bent beneath the weight of religion. But her story reminds us how belief, when left unchallenged, can rot both thrones and bodies from the inside out. And perhaps most disturbing of all, she was admired, worshipped. Her style was copied by noble women across Europe. In her stubborn holiness, she may have influenced an entire generation of women to prioritize modesty over medicine. In doing so, she didn't just preserve piety, she preserved plague. History isn't just kings and conquests. It's unwashed queens, deadly beliefs, and strange truths that shaped the world. If this story made you rethink everything you thought you knew about royal hygiene, drop a comment below. What's the weirdest historical fact you've ever heard? Hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still thinks medieval times were romantic. Because trust me, there was nothing romantic about never changing your underwear.